Hi, this is our Sunday, June 11th, 2017 call, and I am Executive Area Manager Brooke McInerney and Arbonne Independent Consultant. So I was fortunate enough to get to be on a Zoom call the other night with Arbonne's #1 income earner, Cecilia Stoll. And I am going to share what I learned or what she talked about from that call. So I have a couple of announcements and then I'll get into that. So if you haven't seen, you probably have, but Arbonne is doing an incentive this month called Jump on June. And it is for all former or all current preferred clients, excluding any new preferred clients as of June. So they have to be a preferred client prior to June 1st. But all preferred clients will have the availability to get a free product with a $150 order. So what I will say about that, they still also get their 20% discount. I try to make that the least wordy that I can whenever I send messages, and I can post a little sample just so you know what to say, because, you know, once you start saying, well, it's got to be 150 QV, and then you'll get your 20% discount, and then you get to pick out a free product, and yada, yada, they're lost because that's too many numbers. They don't care about all of that. But if they, you know, if there are several things they want or several things they like, you know, from nutrition that they want to reorder and stuff like that, then it's going to perk their ears up to hear stuff like that. So they do have the option to get a free product this month, and it's pretty awesome because it's the exact same deal that they can do whenever they initially sign up and get a free product, minus that extra $20 fee for it being the first time to sign up. So that is a great way, even preferred clients that you've lost contact with if you've been around for a while, or any new ones who have done the detox and they had great results and they've got more stuff they want to try. It's a great way to keep all of your clients kind of going in the funnel. So anyway, be sure to reach out to everyone. I have even got several under me that were previously under other consultants, and some consultants who didn't renew their consultant ID, so now they're under me. And I'm going to reach out to probably a lot of those too. And some of those people I've never even met, but you never know what can happen from that. So it's definitely a good reach out method for anyone, new or old. And then we're also now able to sign up for the Impact Training Tour, and kind of just some extra info. You don't really have to know all of this, but if the date doesn't work out for you, you have other options. So we typically go to Dallas, but that date did not work for me. So I was just kind of waiting around, going to see what the schedule was. And see where the other places were. And there actually happens to be one in Overland Park, Kansas. And for those of us in the eastern Oklahoma or western Arkansas, I think I'm the only one right there, but it's pretty close to the same time to drive to this location. So, and you can choose which one you want, but I think so far we've got 2 or 3 signed up that are going to go to Kansas, and a couple of sidelines that are also going to go to Kansas just because they wanted to hear from different speakers, because they typically pick people around the general area of where the training is being held. So like Dallas is like people who live in the general area. So I'm pretty excited about that. It will be kind of a change of scenery too, because we've gone to Dallas every single time. Anyway, so if you sign up this month, it's $35, and you do get early bird gifts. So you get free stuff whenever we get there and sign in and register. So that's always fun. And then the price will increase. It's not a huge price increase, but it's just worth it to do it now so you can get the free stuff that comes with the early bird sign up. Okay. I think that was the only announcement under that. So I'm going to start into what Cecilia talked about the other night. And I do want to say I've listened to her now multiple times. And I notice a lot of times she will say some of the same things over and over again, which just really reiterates to me it's not always about finding something totally different to do or anything like that. It's just about being consistent and sticking with it. And that's just kind of, something I took away because I've listened to her a lot of times. There have been many times that I've heard her speak, and she has, like I said, repeated some of the same stuff over and over again because it's what works. So the first thing she said was decide that you're going to succeed. So that means, that could be any different kind of success for everyone who's listening to this. Maybe you just want $500 extra a month. Maybe you want to go all the way to the top. Either way, decide that you're going to succeed. And then here's the important part. Make every decision after that decision support your decision to succeed. So, for example, she included meetings and calls, and there were other things. So what I'm going to say about those, you for sure want to plug in. It is the lifeline of your business. And there is a saying that we like to tell people, if you are down, you need the meeting. And if you are up, the meeting needs you. So that's just something to remember, and always plan to either watch those on Zoom or to be there if you're close. So the Tulsa meeting is always the first Monday of every month. In July, it will be on July 10th because the other Monday falls on the 4th. So with exception, it is almost always on the very first Monday of the month. There's a meeting in Oklahoma City. It's always the first Tuesday of every month. And then we have not currently been having regular calls, but I'm thinking about doing like every other week for a little while, something to keep us all plugged in, keep information coming. So anyway, you decide you're going to succeed, and then you plug in. I am saying stuff that someone else said today. I don't always feel as though I don't think that what I have to say is just like the greatest thing you'll ever hear in your life. But I have been doing this business for a while, and I know a lot of things, like what works and what doesn't work. And I do know that early on I was told that if you consistently go to meetings, then you're more apt to success. So I have hardly ever missed meetings in the past 4 years. And I've listened to so much that I can, just share what that was. But it's just, when you're feeling down, sometimes just plugging back into your Arbonne people is what's going to help lift you back up. So that's why that stuff's so important. It's not necessarily always that I'm going to say something that just like causes your aha moment. I mean, sometime it could happen, but mainly you just want to practice it because it's good self-discipline practice, and, apply things and, borrow someone else's belief. Because there are times when I've been so down and I've gone to meetings and I see people who have made it work, and I'm like, okay, they're telling me I can do it, so I'm just going to believe what they say, even if I don't believe it today. Sometimes you just need to borrow that from someone else. So anyways, that's another reason to plug in. And definitely put it on the calendar because I forget. I usually forget to tell my husband, even like sometimes it's a few hours before I'm about to leave, and I'll remember I haven't told him I'm going to the meeting, and it's like an hour and a half drive for me. So I'm not always going to remember to remind everyone. So put it on the calendar for sure. Okay. Know what's going on, with the meetings and everything. Okay, so these are 3 obstacles that she shared that almost stopped her. I'm talking number 1 incomer in all of Arbonne, makes, allegedly, we think, and I'm pretty sure it's accurate, but 6 figures a month. I can't even imagine that. And these are things that almost stopped her. And you're going to hear it's going to be stuff that threatens to stop you and that you sometimes second guess yourself about. So number 1 was the fear of rejection. That was a hard one. And I would say that's still a struggle for me too. Definitely, I'm always anticipating what someone's going to say back to me. Sometimes it keeps me from talking to some people. But those are just things that we have to work through and things that we have to, overcome. Got to be uncomfortable. And it's worth it to talk to some people that are scary sometimes because they end up being, an ace. So number 2 is Border Bullies. If you've never read the book, The Dream Giver, that is where that title comes from. Border bullies are typically like family and friends. And whenever you start trying to do something outside of the status quo, it kind of makes everyone a little nervous. And I loved the analogy that she used. Have you ever put a bunch of crabs, like caught some crabs at the beach, and put them in a bucket? Okay, so if a crab starts to crawl out, what happens? They can't crawl out because the other crabs try to crawl up there and start pulling them back down or crawl on top of them and make them fall down. So that is kind of the same thing that people do sometimes. Whenever you step out of your comfort zone, it kind of threatens their comfort zone because maybe they feel like they should step out of theirs too, but they're not quite ready. It scares them. It makes them nervous. They just want to keep doing, the norm. So border bullies, and sometimes those are family members. Sometimes it's someone that you really thought would be supportive, and it's really hard to like deal with. But you just have to remember that you are not living to impress anyone else. You're living, for yourself, also for God, obviously. So don't let the border bullies get to you. And if you haven't read The Dream Giver, it's a really good book. It's by Bruce Wilkinson. And number 3 is that she was afraid of failure. And that one's pretty hard for me to really define, I guess, because I don't, what's failure? I didn't make it somewhere, so people are going to be like, wow, she always said she was going to do that and she didn't do that. Because, I'm not going to quit, so I can tell you that's not really going to happen. I've probably had fear of failure in different situations, not necessarily Arbonne as a whole, but it is scary to think about failing. And if you're taking notes and you'd like to write down another book, Failing Forward is a really good book. So then 3 keys to help overcome those obstacles. And she said to commit all the way. There is no try. And I try to catch myself. See, I just said it. I watch myself. And whenever I say the word try, I divert and TRY to put another word there. See, it's hard. We say it a lot. You really have to think about what it is you're saying. Just, I am going to do this instead of I'm going to try, and we're all guilty of it, but you have to commit all the way, close the back door, don't have a backup plan for Arbonne, make Arbonne the backup plan. And then number 2 is trust in the law of the harvest. And there were a couple of things that were under this. You reap what you sow. You reap later than you sow. You reap longer than you sow. And seeds that are not even sown, or seeds that are not sown, will not be reaped. And speak life into your business. Put time into your business. I, in the past have been guilty of that too, It's sometimes you're like, how is this not happening? And then you look at the evidence and you're like, okay, well, I guess I didn't really do anything. So that explains some of it. But then number 3 is become a lifer who loves the journey. And I love that because I have, I think everyone on here kind of knows. But this year I decided to make personal growth and reading a priority because I started to feel like I couldn't control everything. And then I decided the only thing I can control is myself and my growth. And so I committed to start working on personal growth. And I have read more books this year than I've read in like the former probably 3 or 4 years put together. And it's changed a lot of things. It really has, like, huge things. And so I would encourage you to do that because it completely changes your outlook about things. I've read some books that talk about this exact thing, loving the journey and not, being discontent or comparing your journey to someone else's. Well, she got here faster than me. Well, she's doing this and I'm still doing this, and yada, yada, yada. There are going to be people who move faster than all of us. Like, there are some crazy people in this world. But we are supposed to be learning a lesson during this part of our journey. And while that may not always be fun, or, that's just a different way to look at it and to embrace it. And it has helped me a lot to be more content, not strive so much. So commit to be the last one standing. That's what I always say. I feel like since I've really gotten serious with Arbonne, I can't even tell you how many huge, like, waves of just like a fad product has come through. And once the steam kind of dies down, so does the consultant for whatever company it is. So even if you start out really high, when you have a low, you can't just fizzle out, because those are the people. I've watched so many people do that. You just have to stick it out and commit to be standing at the end, because you will be. Most of those other people around you will quit within several months, if not within a year. And the best consultant in Arbonne has not even been sponsored yet, which is really crazy when you consider how many amazing people there are in Arbonne. Choose to go to the top of the company because of the person that you will become to get there. Doors will open to make a difference. And she also always shares that her main goal is that Arbonne becomes the #1 company that gives back. And she thinks we already are. So if you guys don't know, let me explain why I got to listen to this call. So there's a group, and it's an auction, and it's called Hot for Haiti. And there's a lot of history to it. I don't really remember all of it. But in a nutshell, a bunch of Arbonne consultants got together and made an auction on Facebook a year ago. And there was, you guys probably remember, there was a hurricane in Haiti several years ago. I mean, I think it could have been like almost a decade. So anyway, it destroyed homes and things down there. And there was an entire village that was living in blue tarp tents, like those plastic blue tarps that we have here. They were living in tents made of those. And those obviously are not a good shelter, but they were so bad too that some of the people had gone blind just because, like, some of the stuff that it did to their eyes, and I guess the way the sun shone through it. Anyway, so last year, some Arbonne consultants created an auction group to raise money. And I don't remember what the first goal was, but basically they raised enough money to build block homes for the entire village. I mean, it was amazing to watch. It was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then this year they are raising money to build a manufacturing facility so that the moms can go to work, because I don't think that moms have as much opportunity to do stuff, and they're going to have like a daycare in that same area so their kids have somewhere to go. And this is like third world country, don't always know if they're going to have clean water to drink. There's dirt outside. Their entire house is probably as big as this office that I'm in, and maybe smaller, I don't know, but they have 6, 7 people living per house. But they have stone houses or block houses now, as opposed to the blue tarp tents, which is amazing. And there was a hurricane this past year in Haiti, and they were able to use those for shelter and bring in people from the village and keep people safe that would have otherwise not been safe. So it's pretty awesome. So anyway, they're raising money for that this year, and I paid to be able to get on that Zoom call. Totally worth every penny for sure. But there was, oh yes, so this is going to be my number one suggestion, because it took me 3 years to take it seriously. But I am going to encourage you to start reading, even if you read like for 5 minutes a day. Just set a very small goal, because what I've realized, I've read some books that I loved that I just flipped through and finished really fast. I've read some books that I didn't love so much, but I made myself finish it because I started it. And what that did was really strengthen my self-discipline, and it helped me to get into the habit of doing something every day, because some days I was not as excited about the book as I was about the one I finished a couple of days ago or whatever. And it keeps me accountable and keeps me with a goal. So even if it's 5 minutes, just start with 5 minutes. You can do 5 minutes. Just set the timer on your phone and just read. You'll get better at it. I'm really scatterbrained. We live in a society where, we've got our phones all the time. We have access to everything just like immediately as soon as we want it. So we're bad at focusing like we used to be better at it. But that's why your mind wanders all the time, because we're used to our instant gratification and always looking at something. We've always got, something going on. So I'm just saying, because I noticed that with myself. But anyways, I would encourage you to start reading, even if it's 5 minutes a day. If you move on past that, maybe do like a chapter a day. And I'm telling you, I've read some books that have the longest chapters, and I'm like, when is this thing going to end? But I can't tell you the effect. Like, it has had a major impact on my business. It's had a major impact on me. You just look at things totally different. It's had a huge impact on my attempts at self-discipline, stuff like that. But anyway, that is going to start being my number one thing that I'm going to encourage new consultants to do. And if you want lists of books, then I have those. A great first one to start with is Dare to Dream, Work to Win. But anyway, so don't forget the announcements. Jump on June. Call all of your preferred clients. Call any preferred clients that are under consultants that aren't active, that are in your downline. And then don't forget about impact registration if you know where you will be at that time. But anyways, that is all I've got for tonight. I have this recorded. So if you have anyone who needs to watch it, then I will have it. So anyways, good night.